The Seth Rollins vs. Roman Reigns feud might be one of the most unique storylines I've ever seen WWE put together. It dates back from a decade ago. Not many feuds can say that they do that. Seth Rollins had the biggest impact on WrestleMania 40 this year, Night 2, Roman versus Cody, and many people don't even know. It leads to Roman finally being dethroned of the tribal chief, and the champion is now Cody Rhodes. 10 years ago, three guys, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins, debuted as The Shield, a new group in the WWE, and they quickly took things by storm. They rose to the top of WWE, no problem. The fans loved them. They were bad guys, they were good guys, they were in between, they were the whole package. Everyone loved them. When the Shield were at their best, Seth Rollins turned heel on Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose with a chair shot to the back of Roman Reigns. This would dismantle the Shield, one of the greatest factions of all time, one of the most quickly risen factions of all time, and it would dismantle it forever and it would never be brought back. Yes, they would reunite later in their career technically, but it was never the same as the first one. It was never as dominant and it was not even as close, even though it was a wholesome moment when they did. Seth Rollins joined the Authority with Triple H, who was calling the shots at the time in the storyline, and he was the main guy. He was instantly pushed. He won the Money in the Bank briefcase, and he was destined to be the next star from the WWE. They were telling you, this is the next guy. And Seth Rollins went with it. He took a shot in the dark, dismantled the Shield, and he was one of the top guys. On the other hand, Roman and Dean were trying to figure out what to do because they were never solo superstars before. They joined as a group, so the fans didn't really know how to react when they were being pushed as kind of a solo superstar and going out and performing solo matches without members of the Shield. It was kind of weird at first. Eventually, Roman and Dean kind of went their ways, and Roman instantly was being pushed to the main event of WrestleMania every single year, and let me tell you, fans fucking hated it. He would get booed out of buildings left and right. No one wanted to see this guy, but yet the WWE kept pushing. They kept telling us, look at him, having a main event every single show. And it's like, dude, okay, we get it. We see him, but WWE fans are different. They like the authentic feeling. They don't want it to be shoved in the face. They want to like them and get the crowd into it their own way. They don't want superstars created inside the industry, if that makes sense. So Roman was being booed out of buildings even though he was presented as the babyface of the company, and Seth Rollins was the heel of the company. They would butt heads a lot, and I mean a lot, between 2015, 2016, and 2020 whenever Roman became the tribal chief. There was the most famous cash-in of all time, the heist of the century, when it was Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar in the main event of WrestleMania, and Seth Rollins comes in with his briefcase that he won from the Authority, from selling out to the Authority, what's best for business, and he took that title from Roman Reigns when he had that match won. Well, I wouldn't say he had that match won, both guys were on the ground, but it was gonna lead to that anyway, let's be honest. Fans ate this up. This was amazing. This was the best idea ever, and it just all ties in because then Roman somehow wins the title back from somebody else, I think, when Seth dropped it, and then Seth challenges Roman for the title, but then Dean's in the background with his Money in the Bank briefcase, and it's just a whole mess, and they would just meet, but they were clever with it. WWE made sure Seth Rollins mentioned that chair shot to the back of Roman Reigns. He would mention it quite often about every single feud they had that was big, whether it was the Royal Rumble, that was the most recent one, or even back in 2018, 2019 when they would challenge each other just cause at a big PLE event. They just butted heads a lot. They were two top guys and it was just hard to separate them. And they had a great story every single time they butted heads. It was just cinema. So as I was saying, they would continue to butt heads, but now it is 2019. Roman Reigns is your Universal Champion. Not the WWE Champion, but the Universal Champion. Probably the second highest title, if I'm not mistaken, at that time. So it was still a big moment for him in his career for the Universal Championship. He comes out, and instantly you can tell his vibe's off. His demeanor's off, body language, face, everything. And he starts off and instantly you can tell he said, "My real name's Joe." When he said that, everyone kind of froze. We were like, huh? You can hear the crowd. They were like, what? Roman Reigns announced that he had to relinquish the Universal Championship because he had leukemia, which is cancer in the blood. It was very, very emotional. Like, everybody in the stadium felt for him. Everyone at home felt for him. He was walking up the ramp, and who's there? Seth Rollins in tears. I'm talking, like, it's not funny, but it's like, it's the story. Like, it's so interesting. He's there in tears. Like, that's his dog, bro. Like, real shit. Like, it's WWE and then there's real life. Like, that's his dog, bro. Like, and it just hit different. Like, he didn't know what to do. He cried, he came out, and he gave him a hug. Him and Dean came out. It's just an emotional moment. It was very good. Eventually, Roman Reigns returned. He was cleared. His health was good, and he returned. And he was a pretty big babyface when he returned. Not everyone was hating on him. He was still getting that hate, but it was not as much. Like, everyone was really happy when he, like, went away, and, like, we felt what it was like without Roman Reigns. Then he came back, and we were like, wow, we actually missed you. Like, you're good at your job. Like, we want to see you more. Let's go. Then, as we all know, 2020, the pandemic hit. Everything shut down, and WWE was in a very tough spot because this company needs fans. This company needs a live crowd. If it doesn't, it's not the WWE anymore. It's just two guys wrestling. Like, there's nothing there if the crowd's not there. Roman Reigns, being the smart guy he is, and he is very concerned about his health. He just got back from leukemia. He just cured it a few months ago. Like, he said, okay, pause until we figure all this out and how to make it safe. I got to take myself out of here for my health, for my family. I can't wrestle with you guys anymore. And he took time away, which was the best decision he's ever made in his career because it really shaped it into what it is now. Roman would go away and he would eventually come back. And when he made his return, no one knew he was coming. It was a random pay-per-view. He would come back and spear Braun Strowman. And instantly, like I said earlier, when he came out for the leukemia speech, you could tell his body language, his face, what he was saying. Because it was COVID at this time. There was no fans. You could hear when WWE, when they talk to each other. Like, you can hear when WWE superstars talk to each other. He said, "You're not a monster unless I'm here." I think. Don't quote me. Anyways, that would shape him into who he is today, and that was the start of the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. Acknowledge. Now it's the Tribal Chief. It's 2020 to 2024. This is a 4-year-long storyline. And now starts the Tribal Chief from 2020 to 2024. It was a long run, but man, was it good. Roman Reigns would instantly elevate himself to levels and levels and levels and levels, and he truly showed how this company had levels to each and every one, and he was on 15 steps ahead of everybody else. He would bring his family up with him, the Usos, Solo, and then eventually Sami. He would bring everyone up with him, and then eventually people would turn on him, this, that, and the third. That's just a little backstory about that. But along this Tribal Chief run from 2020 to 2024, Roman and Seth would eventually butt heads again in 2022 at the Royal Rumble when they had a match. And again, Seth would bring up, I know you still remember that chair shot to the back. Do you remember that, Roman? Do you remember that chair shot? When I imploded the Shield forever and changed the landscape of the WWE forever? Those were Seth Rollins' lines. He said, I changed the history of the WWE forever with that chair shot. And Roman's face, plain, disgusted, angry, sad, emotional. You can see it all in his face. He's the best in the business at that. Facial expressions go a long way. Roman would then go on to win that match by disqualification and kind of cheating and taking advantage of championship rules, which was a great tactic by him because Seth didn't get pinned. He didn't look weak. He still looked very, very strong, and Roman won with the title and ran off with it. Now, finally, here comes Cody Rhodes, the winner of the 2023 Royal Rumble and the 2024 Royal Rumble. 2023 isn't that meaningful to 2024, but it's still kind of important because it involves Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes involves Seth Rollins, which is the whole thing that we're talking about. I also forgot to mention, sorry, it kind of just blanked my mind because everything, like, there's so much stuff to the story. Seth Rollins became, like, a good guy between, like, 2019, I'm pretty sure, 2020. through the pandemic, and he's known as a babyface now. Sorry, I completely forgot to say that. It just slipped my mind. But yes, Seth Rollins is now a good guy, and Roman is the bad guy. All right, sorry. Back to the video. So Cody Rhodes won the 2023 Royal Rumble and lost to Roman Reigns when everyone thought he was actually going to lose at WrestleMania 39, which was last year. Which he didn't. He retained. There was a lot more story to tell, and man, there was. It was amazing. They would have one-off stare down and in the fall, just for no reason, and then they would it didn't really lead to anything. 2024 starts, and now The Rock is back. He came back on day one of 2024 for that special Raw edition of the new year. He was saying things along the lines of, "I'm gonna face Roman at WrestleMania. Should I sit at the head of the table? This, that, and the third," hinting at a Roman Rock WrestleMania 40, which would have been huge. But then Cody won the Royal Rumble, and then he pointed at Roman Reigns, said, "I want you, I want you. And if you win the Royal Rumble, you get to be in the main event of WrestleMania for the title." But then, oddly, it was just out of left field. Cody comes out on a SmackDown, I'm pretty sure, and says, "I want to face you, Roman, and I want that title, just not at WrestleMania." And everyone's like, "What? You won the Royal Rumble. Why don't you want him? You chose him, didn't you?" And the Rock music hits. And now there's the stare down with Rock and Roman. And this is telling us this is your feud. This is your main event for WrestleMania 40. It was set in stone. And holy shit, were we wrong. Because over the next 3 to 4 days on Twitter, social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, the hashtag "We Want Cody" trended worldwide, and everyone wanted, saying, he was the Royal Rumble winner. He was this. He deserves this. The Rock doesn't deserve it just because he comes from Hollywood and gets to call the shots. No, just because he owns TKO. The crowd went crazy. Then we had a kickoff show. The Rock and Roman face off again. This is our feud for WrestleMania 40. Nope. Cody comes out, says, "This is bullshit. I won the Royal Rumble, and I want to be in the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns to win that title." Sorry, I'm fucking up here. There's so much shit. This leads to The Rock turning heel and joining forces with Roman Reigns, and he smacks the shit out of Cody Rhodes. And by the way, I know this is a Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns video, but there's so much into the story. Seth Rollins is in the background on the stage when this happens. When The Rock smacks Cody, Seth Rollins steps up and he confronts The Rock, saying, "You can't do that just because you're the boss. You don't even show up. You're not the real champ." And this eventually is the baby faces versus the heels. It is now Seth and Cody kind of teaming up against Roman and The Rock. A couple weeks go by, they're still butting heads, and then eventually Cody says, "Rock, when am I going to get my one-on-one match with you?" The following week, The Rock says, "You don't get a match with The Rock. You don't get to do that, but I have another idea. You and Cody Rhodes versus myself and Roman Reigns in a tag match, night one of WrestleMania." This tag match was saying if Rock and Roman won, then it would be bloodline rules, which is basically anything goes, any interference can go to help Roman win the title and retain it. But if Cody and Seth won, then it would be a completely fair match between Roman and Cody Rhodes. They would then go on to hype up the bloodline rules, so we eventually kind of knew it was going to be bloodline rules on night 2, and it was just going to be an implosion of every single thing that's ever happened in the bloodline, which kind of was to a certain extent. So The Rock and Roman win, and now it's night 2 of WrestleMania, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Midway through the match, The Rock is interfering, doing what he does, and he has the belt that he's been teasing Cody and Cody's mom with the last 3 weeks, and he is about to smack Cody with it over the back. And what do you know it? Who comes out? Seth Rollins. But he doesn't just come out in any ordinary way. He comes out to the iconic Shield music that they used back a decade ago when they first debuted in the WWE. That was their theme song. It was iconic. It was great. Theme song, 9 out of 10. Great theme song. And he came out to that. He sneaks in the ring. Roman Reigns runs in. Superman punches him out of nowhere to save The Rock from getting attacked by Seth Rollins, who is holding a steel chair in the same gear that he wore 10 years ago. He was dressed like his old self, and he held that steel chair just like he held 10 years ago when he smacked Roman Reigns in the back. The match goes on, the Undertaker comes out, and everyone clears out. And the only people in the ring are Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins. Cody Rhodes is against one side of the ropes. Seth Rollins is on the other side. The chair is in the middle. Roman Reigns looks at the chair, picks it up, looks at Seth, struggling to get up, looks at Cody, struggling to get up. And what does he do? He hits Seth Rollins with the metal chair in the back when he wasn't looking. To replay, to put in words, this storyline of 10 years in the making, and that moment right there just solidified how good the WWE is moving forward. They just told this story and pivoted and pivoted and pivoted and told it in such a unique way that I've never seen it before. So, Roman Reigns hits Seth Rollins with a chair. Cody gets enough time to counter Roman Reigns' spear, hits him with the crossroads, and it ends the match. And, dude, that wouldn't have happened if Roman chose Cody and just started smacking him with the chair and then set up his finisher. The match would have been over there. But Roman Reigns remembered 10 years ago, Seth Rollins was in his head and turned on Roman Reigns, and he never forgot that. He was always reminding him all throughout the years, and he finally got his revenge. And you can hear Michael Cole, payback, as soon as he hit him. It was cinema. 10 out of 10, best storyline in WWE history is this Bloodline storyline. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was fun making, it was hard making, a lot of mess ups, but we eventually got here. This storyline is amazing. 10 out of 10, you really can't beat it. And it's one of the most unique storylines in WWE history. Alright, I'm out.